Hello there, YouTube. This is probably gonna be my last video of the night, and I'm going to try not to cut it so close like last time, and have to be all quick and rambly near the end. Um, so I was doing all these little videos, and my friend Jen, who I mentioned earlier, mentioned that I should do a video about this idea I've had for a long, long time. It's been years, I think, since I first conceived this idea. Um, First of all, it is probably abundantly clear from me on YouTube and such that I am something of what you might call an exhibitionist. I don't mean this in a sexual sense, even though it might be true. But what I mean it in is in a very social sense. I like to be watched. Like just putting myself out there for whoever, and I like the idea of random people looking at me doing everyday things or talking about random stuff in my life. That's kind of a lot of what YouTube's for, at least what a lot of people use it for. So basically, I had this idea a long while back. I think maybe even before I started doing YouTube, but I'm not sure. Um, I had this idea of if I ever won the lottery, so many great fantasies start out that way. If I ever won the lottery, I would buy this enormous house and put cameras all over it, and make them webcams. And essentially, in each room, I'd have like a flat panel screen, or three, a number of flat panel screens depending on the room, and probably wireless keyboards associated with each of them, hooked into a computer and hooked into a cam, so that people could log onto a website and view any of the cameras in the room and just, chat with me. I would probably have microphones as well so that I could just talk. And of course, they'd be better than this one. They'd be proximity microphones, so they could just hear whatever's going on in the whole room. And, they could type into a chat and text would appear on one of the screens and all kinds of neat stuff. There's not lots of neat stuff I thought of that you could do with it. I would start out completely free. Since I just won the lottery, I can afford it. But since the money would clearly run out after a good amount of time, I would slowly introduce, unobstructive ads and things like maybe only paying for certain things. I would always want it to be free just to watch. But maybe, especially if things started getting a little bit too spammy in the chat rooms, as I'm sure they eventually would, no matter what precautions I took, I would start doing maybe like a monthly fee or whatever for just chatting in the chat rooms. And, that way I'd have a way of sort of filtering out a lot of the, spam in there, because once you have to start putting down money in order to advertise like that, it's not worth it anymore to camp a bunch of bots everywhere. Um, so I would work on that, and it would essentially, the idea came from the fact that it would be like a reality TV show, except unlike it in the way that it would be able to do things that reality TV simply can't do. A reality TV show covers, days and days worth of time in a single 1 hour episode, 45 minutes after commercials and stuff. And so it isn't really reality. It's, whatever the editors who took all of the film that they took and spun it together thought would make for a good story. And, when you've got enough footage, you can really paint whatever picture you want of what's going on and make it seem much more dramatic than it is. Whereas with this, I would make it, not only something you could view live, but also something that would record and you could go back and view backlogs of it. And I probably would even do a wiki style event thing, where you could go through and say, okay, at this point, so and so walks in the room, and then at this point they leave the room and walk into this other room. And so using that and, doing it all user edited so I didn't have to keep up with it, since that would become quite a chore. Um, it would become a thing where you could just turn it on and like watch what happened yesterday, figure out what's going on in my life and all that kind of different stuff. And I'd have people over, I wouldn't give out the address publicly, but I would at least, when I got talking with someone on there, especially if they had a webcam too. Oh, that's another feature of the screens. It would have to be able to accept other webcams. And once I familiarized myself with a person enough that I felt I could trust them, I could give them my address. They could come over, and it'd be like a guest star on my show, the Zetten Show. So that's a little daydream of mine. And very recently, I started getting into the thought process of, well, yes, this is a great fantasy for if I win the lottery, but why do I have to wait till then? Um, a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, at least if I take it in steps, is not really that hard to do. Obviously, I can't create a big house with a bunch of cameras, but I already have one camera, and I can slowly save up for other cameras, other computers, and stuff, and make this thing happen. Um, so the first step, and I don't know if it'll ever get that extravagant or, if I'll even want it to, but the first step down the road is finding an acceptable program. And to a certain degree, I have found one. I found a site called Stickcam, which a lot of you might know about. I've noticed there's actually quite a bit of crossover between Stickcam and YouTube. A lot of the same people who became famous on YouTube are over there now. I saw Zen Archer on there at one point, and all kinds of stuff. Um, so it's definitely the next logical step. The thing that bugs me about there is that they don't allow anything, adult oriented. And I would definitely want mine to be 24 hours uncensored. Whatever happens, happens. That's just the way I feel about things. And it's not that I want to be pornographic, in and of itself. I wouldn't want to focus on that. But, I also don't want to leave it out if it's there. And, if everyone there wants it to be shown. I would probably, especially for a lot of people, leave the option of turning the cameras off at certain times, especially at first when I was first really getting into it. But anyway, my point is, Stickcam unfortunately doesn't support everything that I want it for. And in the long term, I really want to create my own website, of course, but whatever. So I got looking at other things, and the best one I actually could find that closest suits my long-term needs is something called Camfrog, which is a real interesting program. You can download it for free and watch it for free, and host whatever you want on it, and basically give people, you can even embed a URL and give people the URL, and they can watch you that way. My time is running short again. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna make this a 2-part video. It's going to be a planned 2-part video instead of a I get cut off and make another video 2-part video. So go ahead over and watch part 2, which by the time you're watching this is probably already either uploaded or getting there. So yeah, go watch that, and I will finish what I was saying. Bye.